The Humboldt County Sheriff's Department is not unbiased and cannot be trusted to do an investigation of violence against Earth Firsters.
Hello, everybody. I am being continually renewed and rejuvenated by this group here. I think we're all remembering why we're part of this struggle and part of this fight. Seeing each other here today and learning from Gypsy, we are continually remembering that we are on the path to saving these forests. I remember the first time I saw Gypsy, and I remember the last time I saw him, which was at Action Camp just over a week ago, and I hugged him and said, "Keep up the good work." And then that's the last time I saw him. And he did that. And he is doing that, and his remembrance in our hearts will keep doing that. Now, we came up here, Noel and I, to talk to you about the pepper spray lawsuit because, make no mistake, the Sheriff's Department, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department, is a biased agency, and they are working for Charles Hurwitz. Backwoods, when we're sitting in trees, when we're locked to the bulldozers, when we're just talking to each other, we say the Hurwitz County Sheriff, because that's what's going on here. When I talk to people who live, across the country or in different bioregions, they tell me that we are living in the deep north. And I think, wow, it's very true. We're deeply endowed with these forests, but we are deeply twisted up with a corporation that is being run by pure greed, and that's the bottom line here. Now, we just want to share a few things we've learned in this pepper spray lawsuit with you because it is very telling of the bias that the Sheriff's Department has. It definitely was going on before the lawsuit. A lot of us can share stories around the campfire of being abused and disrespected and demeaned by law enforcement and PL, yucking it up together, joking, making fun. And people should not be persecuted for their beliefs. People should not be tortured for their beliefs. I can tell you when I was locked down in Scotia in the lobby, Carl Anderson, the head of PL Security, a man who had just a month before assaulted me and my friends at a blockade, which was not investigated by the Sheriff's Department despite complaints being filed. He comes into the office with his buddies, the Humboldt County Sheriff officers, and says to my friend and to all of us, "You've got an education coming." Okay, he said this to a teacher who was locked down with us. Did he know what was going to happen that day? I think he did know that they were going to use pepper spray. I think he did know that because deputies that are friends of his that used to work for PL, including Sheriff Lewis himself, probably told him that they were going to use pepper spray and probably were glad about it.
Lewis worked for PL?
After they used this toxic chemical agent on us, while joking and letting PL workers being part of this and watching what was going on, Carl Anderson helped carry my stretcher with other deputies out of the building. In trial last month in San Francisco, from the stand, Deputy Kirkpatrick takes the stand. He is the man who did the swabbing and spraying in each of these 3 incidents. We admit into evidence a photo that is a blow-up still frame of the police video that shows our sister Bonka's eyeball being swabbed directly. Her eye is open and the Q-tip is against the eyeball. From the stand, all of us plaintiffs and everybody in the courtroom and the trees who are listening had to hear Deputy Kirkpatrick say from the stand that the pupil was shadow of the Q-tip and the white of the eye was glare. Sheriff Lewis used to work for PL. These people have dinner together at night. In August of 1997, Charles Hurwitz came to this county, and in a meeting at the Scotia Inn in the company town, Pacific Lumber, Sheriff Lewis, Chief Arnie Millsap at the Eureka Police Department, and Charles Hurwitz talked. None of us know what went on there, but I think we can guess, and that's why we are on the front lines, that's why we're in the trees, and that's why we remember Gypsy Chain.
All of us are here because of brutality and violence. Everyone who's been here, everyone who's been backwoods, has probably experienced that in some form or another. A year ago tomorrow was Scotia. October 3rd last year was Bear Creek. October 16th was Riggs. All of us were brutalized in those incidents. We were tortured by Humboldt County law enforcement, hiding behind their badges, hiding their humanity behind their badges. Whether it's a cop with his paint compliance or pepper spray, or a logger with his chainsaw, they hide behind their humanity and they don't see us as human beings. They don't care about us. They think they can call us earth firsters, hippies, activists, radicals. They marginalize us so they don't have to feel what we're feeling. They can shield themselves behind this so that they do the work that they do, which is brutalizing us and tearing down this forest. They tried to punish us for our beliefs, and when we took them to trial, they still held that line. And they didn't see us as human beings in trial either. On the stand, an officer said, when he saw us, he didn't think we were in pain, we were just a bit uncomfortable. This is the mentality that they use. They won't see us as human beings, and they want us out of that forest.
The last time we were there were marvelous trenches in the road.
Well, what we found out is the road, basically all the way to the top of the ridge, is not actually a Pacific Lumber Road or on Pacific Lumber land. It's on rancher land, and the rancher's name is Scott Dunn. And they've been very nice. They're actually sympathetic to our cause.
How is that?
Well, I believe they don't like Pacific Lumber's forestry practices. And even though they've agreed in the timber harvest plan to let them use the road and give them an easement, we definitely have a feeling that they're not very supportive of the Maxim-led Pacific Lumber Company and their harvesting practices, but they let them use the road. So anyway, we found this out many weeks after we actually had set up our blockades with the intention of keeping every vehicle out. And in the interest of community relations and making sure that small landowners have access, and there's also another homesteader who lives down the road as well, we've decided to make our barricades or blockades movable, meaning that the road will be open, but there will still be blockades in place to block Pacific Lumber from going to the top and continuing any work or disturbing the crime scene. So we realized here there are a lot of people locally who are supporters, and there are a lot of people who support us and don't necessarily like Pacific Lumber and what they're doing to people in the forest and the jobs here. So they're sympathetic, but of course they're in a small neighborhood, they're in a small town atmosphere, and they can't really speak up or support us. But we feel that if we kept the small landowners out of their land, it would only be worse. It would definitely backfire against us. So it's kind of a historical, groundbreaking thing. Earth First is filling in the trenches and making our blockades movable. It seems kind of strange, but you can't have one no compromise rule apply to everything.
There might be some hanging on the inside here.
Well, I got a better idea. I got some string down there.
What's going on in the wonderful blockaded living room?
Well, the original blockade is going to be moved back to the end of the Caltrans guardrails right here. We'll no longer be on Caltrans land, but we're still going to use the guardrails as a first line of defense because they're not going to pull those guardrails out of there. They'll pull us out first. The doors you see here now are going to be pulled back. 2 of those metal panels are going to be hinged, so the Dunns can winterize their road, but Palco cannot go up using this road to pull the logs out of the timber harvest plan that Gypsy was killed at. So right now you're watching us clean up the living room. We're going to pull it back. There is no longer going to be a target front line of defense. The security that has been out here this past week has had bottles thrown at them, rocks thrown at them. There was a pickle jar at some point thrown at us. There were some 22 shots fired off the other night a little bit off the road. We're having paintball guns shot at us, and so it doesn't do us any good to stand on Highway 36 and wave. We've stood our ground, we've made our statement, and while we will still have a presence here with the castle gate that we're only allowing the Dunns through, and we'll still have a presence that no one driving by will be able to see in the trees and the such, we will have radio contact with Never Never Land up on the top of the hill in Monster Village that is doing the direct support guarding the timber harvest plans up there, but this is going to look totally different tomorrow morning.